You're watching Pulse for the 13th of March, and it's once again time for some World of Warcraft news. In this week's episode, we take a look at Blizzard's Mists of Pandaria female Panda teaser, some talk on Mists of Pandaria's buff and debuff design, the new Scroll of Ressurection Changes, the two latest Cataclysm Post Mortems, and more. Let's get straight to the news. First up, this. She's on her way and she's arriving on March the 19th. This is actually the first proper look we've been given at female Pandaren in Mists of Pandaria. I guess we did get a look at a few male Pandaren with pink ribbons in their hair, but I don't think that counts. So I have to say that the silhouette that we've been given does look pretty much how we expected it to look. Well, the outlines that we can see at least. There are a lot of fans out there that had expectations of what the female Pandaren should look like, and I suppose a lot that actually created their own versions of it, and I would say that this one looks pretty similar to all of those, and seems pretty similar to what they expected from it, and that's a good thing. That said, I kind of like how the female Pandaren are looking so far, and I can't wait for the full reveal on March the 19th. You guys can let me know what you think. I personally just hope that they're going to add a ton of customization options. One thing that a lot of people were asking for was a weight slider. Do you want to be able to adjust your Pandaren's weight? Either male or female? I think it's an interesting idea and it would actually make them look very unique, but that could make designing armor for the race a lot more difficult, so I actually don't see something like that being implemented. Either way, I'm excited to see how they're going to look, and that's definitely not the only thing I'm excited for. I'm very sure we're going to get a ton of other information come March the 19th. So you guys and girls should definitely check back here soon for more on the press tour and everything that's going to be revealed there. And as one quick Mists of Pandaria extra, it seems like the Mists of Pandaria beta box art or box icon has been added to the Battle.net account management site. So this doesn't really mean much, but it does solidify our guesses for the beta starting soon after the NDA lifts on March the 19th. That is indeed very cool, and you can read all about it in the description below this video. Next up, Ghostcrawler has yet another blog post up discussing some of the system changes coming to World of Warcraft in Mists of Pandaria. This latest post is all about which buffs players will be able to bring to groups to use on themselves and their party members, and which debuffs players will have at their disposal to use on enemies. I'm also just going to mention that I won't go into too much detail here because we do actually have two more posts to have a look at, but Ghostcrawler outlined the main design goals behind the new buff and debuff categories. What they want to do with the new system is make you feel more powerful when grouped with other players. They want to make it feel like you actually contributing something to the group. So a lot of people will once again come out and say that Blizzard are just trying to simplify everything again, but that's definitely not the case here. I would say that this is more just Blizzard reorganizing, or I suppose the best term to use is recategorizing things. All of this is going to make it much easier for us to handle things when we're setting up a group or a raid, or when we're choosing what spec we want to use to the next group or raid that we join. I really like the look of it, and I have to say again that I do like the fact that you can play any spec you want. I suppose you'd have to be playing a DPS spec if you're DPS, but you can play any of the DPS specs at your disposal and you'll be able to have the buff or debuff that you need to be useful in the group or raid. So to end this off, Ghostcrawler just gave us a list of all the buffs and debuffs, and I have to say that the categories are looking pretty neat so far. You can let me know what you think about this below. Do you think it's oversimplification, or do you think it's a step in the right direction? You can also read all about this in the description below this video. In our next piece of news, the Scroll of Resurrection has just been infused with powerful glyphs, making it more potent than ever before. How so, you ask? Well, for a limited time, you can earn a free faction mount when you use the scroll to bring back a friend or former guildmate to World of Warcraft. Once your friend accepts the scroll and pays for at least 30 days of game time, you unlock your choice of the following rewards: a free Spectral Griffin for an Alliance character, or a free Spectral Windrider for a Horde character. That's not the end of it though, not by a long shot. So to enable you and your friend to play together in Cataclysm's newest content, any friend who accepts your scroll will also receive the following epic benefits: a single character immediately boosted all the way to level 80, a free upgrade to Cataclysm regardless of your friend's original box level, an optional free character move to your realm and faction so you can play together, and 7 free days of game time. That does sound incredibly good for both parties. If you want to read more about this, you can do so in the description below this video. I know that a lot of people will probably come back to World of Warcraft now if they get their friends to use the scroll on them, because thinking about it, A lot of people didn't like the leveling process in World of Warcraft. They wanted that maxed character, they wanted to be able to play with their friends immediately, and this will enable them to do so. So I think it's a great move by Blizzard. Again though, read all about this below, and with that done, let's move on to the next two pieces of news. Here we have the next two parts in Blizzard's Post Mortem series on Cataclysm. In the first one, they sat down with World of Warcraft's lead encounter designer, Scott Dalo Mercer, to hear his thoughts on Cataclysm dungeons and raids. In this interview, Dalo discusses a few of the successes and failures that they had with World of Warcraft Cataclysm, and all the patches that came with it. He said the biggest highlights in Cataclysm, for him at least, include the Dungeon Journal and the Raid Finder. I would have to heartily agree with both of those. I'd say that the Raid Finder really opens up the raiding experience in World of Warcraft to so many more people, and the Dungeon Journal makes the raiding experience that much easier to handle as well. As for the failures, the one thing that he did point out was the difficulty level of launch heroics, and I have to say that I did play Cataclysm at launch and I did find them a little bit difficult to get into. But the interview and the post itself is incredibly interesting. They've got some screenshots in there to have a look at as well, and this is a good read considering we're going to be hearing a lot more about the Mists of Pandaria dungeons and raids soon as well. Yes, he does talk a little bit about Mists of Pandaria in here, but it is more focused on Cataclysm. Now for the other post or interview and the last part of the Cataclysm Post Mortem series. That's actually a very good thing, and I would say that that probably means we're going to be seeing a lot more Mists of Pandaria content soon. So this one is from none other than Greg Ghostcrawler Street, the lead systems designer for World of Warcraft, and he talks about everything. He talked about what worked and didn't work in Cataclysm, and one of the things that obviously came up as one of the highlights for him was the level 1 to 60 revamp. That is obviously the case for many people, and with good reason. So all the way at the end of this interview was the most interesting part, to me at least. Ghostcrawler mentions that they've received the message that the players of World of Warcraft want more content, more regularly. And he says that they're going to be offering raid finder versions of all their raids going forward. They're going to be offering brutally difficult challenge modes of dungeons for players who thought the Cataclysm heroics were too easy. They want to provide more crossover content between PvE and PvP, and they want to continually add new battlegrounds, so those players have a fresh experience to look forward to. I'd even go as far as to say that it would be cool if they handled the World of Warcraft battlegrounds as they do the StarCraft ladder map pool, and they just cycled them around every couple of months. Now I know it won't ever really be the same in World of Warcraft because it's silly taking content away from people, but still it's something interesting to think about, and it does look like they're trying to spice things up a bit in Mists of Pandaria. I think a lot of people are waiting for that. So you can read both of these Cataclysm Post Mortems below, and with that done, let's move on to the World of Warcraft smalls. First up, over at the official site, there are some fan art and Blizzard art gallery updates. The next War College post is out, this one focusing on the Battle of Gilneas. You can check out some community news on the EU community site. You can check out the latest and last contest winner in the Guardian of Accounts art contest. This is for January 2012. Wowhead have the second part of their guide to all rares up, and there's a Pandaren race guide up over at 10 Ton Hammer. Then over at Kotaku you can read an interesting article that says that World of Warcraft is healthy for players' brains. Then lastly, right here on YouTube, you can have a look at an interview done by Trade Chat with Michelle Morrow. That is obviously quite interesting and well worth having a look at. Sadly, that's all I have for you in the World of Warcraft news. Remember to check the description below this video for everything that I spoke about, and check back here soon for more. Like the video and do all that other good stuff, and most importantly, happy waiting for that female Pandaren reveal.